let's move on here to boxing right now because I wanted to get into this, man. Whew. We gotta talk about this, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to go last here because I got a lot to say. So I'm not even gonna take all the real estate here. Ryan Garcia, he explained his KO. Okay, his KO loss to Gervonta Davis. In quotes, I couldn't breathe. Okay, he caught me. Simple. Now the question is not as simple. Did the rehydration clause affect Ryan Garcia in the Davis fight? And for those of y'all who don't know, there was a rehydration clause in Ryan Garcia's contract prior to the fight, which he had to, he had like a 10-pound limit that he had to, finesse before the fight.
Right.
And that was a big topic prior to the fight. But now
Right.
that the fight is over and we know the results, did that rehydration clause have any effect? And Zay, if you want to do the honors to kick us off first, ball me.
Yeah, I was heavily on this topic because I wasn't really privy to the language of the rehydration clause prior to really looking at it the night before the fight. And after like examining it, because throughout the months leading up to the fight, the rehydration clause was a lot of different language. First, it was he can't hydrate most of the week. He can't drink water 3 out of the 4 days of the week, or 3 out of 7 days of the week, or he can't rehydrate while he trains. Or it was weird. And then when it officially came out, when I read it, it was just a 10-pound rehydration. And I'm like that's not a bad thing. I'm agree with it. I don't believe the rehydration clause is the reason why Ryan Garcia lost in this fight. He doesn't protect himself. He's not a fighter who defends well. So he's susceptible to getting hit. That's Ryan Garcia. He's a boxer who has never protected. He's not a defensive fighter. He doesn't defend himself from hits. There's multiple videos because he's a social media sensation as a boxer. There's multiple videos of him striking. No videos of him defending. He's not a defensive fighter. Like, he doesn't know how to defend himself in a fight. And you've seen that in the Campbell fight. He got hit with a hook. And it dazed him. It took him out. Well, knocked him down. Not took him out. Knocked him down.
Right.
And, Ryan and Tank is a heavier puncher. He strikes with momentum, strikes with ferocity. If you get hit, you saw in the fight, that second round, when Garcia was pushing the tempo, he was striking, doing what he does best. But he didn't take the punch. If you're going to be a fighter who throws volume, you have to anticipate taking a hit. Triple G understood that. Canelo understands that. The guys who throw a lot of volume and punches, and they take hits, they are susceptible to getting hit, and they take them, and they keep fighting. Ryan Garcia is the guy who throws punches in mass volume. He throws a lot of punches in a round, and he got hit. And when he got hit, he got knocked down. He wasn't ready for the punch. That's the whole issue. If you're going to be a fighter who just throws all day, you have to be able to take some hits. You can't have a glass chin. You got to be able to take it. You got to hit right in the nose, butt in the nose. Went right down. You got hit right in the liver. I'm not saying you got to eat that and keep going, but that's a shot that takes you out. You have to be understanding that I'm gonna take some nasty blows, but I'm ready to go. You can't use the rehydration clause as a reasoning for the knockout. It's not fair. It's not fair to Gervonta Davis, who actually weighed 144 as well, who's under the same clause. And people told me multiple times, oh, well, that's not Ryan Garcia's natural weight, so maybe he shouldn't be fighting in that division. If that's too low for him, he shouldn't be fighting in that division if that's the case. He should be moving closer to his weight. So there should be no complaining about rehydration clauses, or I'm not ready to fight, or I'm not feeling good. That's on him. He wants to go lower because he has an advantage at his height, at his speed, to take out guys. So if that's where you want to go, the belt is at 135. You think you're going to rehydrate the 160, 170 to fight? And on a fight night? That doesn't make any sense. You understood everything when you signed that contract. You said, I want to fight. I want to fight. I don't care about the clothes. I don't care about this. I want to fight. Don't complain about the stuff you signed up for. That's the contract you signed. Go for it. And Lil, you talk about this all the time about athletes. If you sign a contract, you got to honor it. No complaints, no nothing. That's what you signed for. Garcia signed for that. He had to honor it. He did it. There should be no complaints afterwards out of him. I don't care about that. Now, anything outside of the clause, I'm not going to touch base on. I hope y'all talk more about it because I'm not privy to it. But regarding the rehydration clause itself, that is on Ryan Garcia. He did not have to agree to it, but he chose to, and the knockout happened.
Yeah. Well, listen, man. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm an expert on how that affects your body with the rehydration clause. I'm not acting like an expert, like, well, that affects them this way or that affects them that way. What I am going to say is this. Like I told y'all before, boxing, the talent that people do not talk about is, can you take a punch? And like we said when we did this last week, I said Tank Davis is going to be able to take some of these punches and to land a better punch. Look what happened in the second round. Garcia was hitting him, catching him with some shots. Tank Davis was getting low, catching some shots, and he caught him with a better shot. Look in the seventh round. They was exchanging. He caught him with a better shot. That's a talent in boxing that you got to be able to hit and continue to move forward or continue to hit back. If you can't take a punch in boxing, you're not going to be very successful long term. It's just not going to happen. Now, Zay, you said you're not a defensive fighter. This is the reason, right? This is the reason why. If you're not the greatest defensive fighter, that's why you got to be able to take a punch. There's some people that can't take a punch, but they're great defensive fighters. So they don't even get hit like that. So that's why they went on that skill set of being the defensive fighter, because I don't take great punches. So you got to be a defensive fighter. You can't be both. You can't be a guy who's not a great defensive fighter and can't take a punch. Okay? That ain't going to work out for you long-term in boxing. And that's what I saw in this fight. The only thing I saw was Garcia, and like you said, cousin, with the left hook, the check hook and all that, right? He was trying to set it up. This dude, Tank Davis, was getting really low. I don't know if y'all noticed that. He was ducking a lot of those left hooks. Like it was like he watched game film on this dude. He studied it because clearly he ducked a lot of them, right? So he was
able to neutralize it. He was able to neutralize it. He was able to neutralize it.
Absolutely. So as he's ducking the left hooks and anticipating that it's going to come, he's ducking them. When he landed that shot in the second round, even though it went all the way to 7, I even knew that fight was over. Done deal. Done. Okay. And as far as the body shot, reminiscent of Bernard Hopkins versus
De La Hoya.
Oscar De La Hoya, with the same body type shot that just laid them on the ground. You saw the grimace. You saw the way he went backwards, and you saw the grimace in his face, blood trickling out of his nose. He went to one knee. He can't handle it. He couldn't breathe. He was done. So I'm not disrespecting this man, Garcia, clear. But as far as the rehydration clause, like you said, Zay, you signed that. You signed it. Okay? So do not even use that as an excuse. No one should be using that as an excuse. This is mano a mano, man on man. When you go in the ring, I want to see you do it. That's it. And I saw from a skill set perspective, forget about the rehydration clause and all that. From a skill set perspective, he can take punches, Tank Davis, and deliver a better one. He showed his skill set. Garcia missed on the left hook. That was his skill set. And he couldn't take a punch, just like Zay said. And that's why he was laid out. It is what it is. Freddie says from status.
I'm glad that I allowed y'all to go ahead and speak because, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. I got a lot to say, and I said it before. We're going to be here for about a good 5-6 minutes here, emptying out the cannon, right? We're going to empty out the cannon here. You see, first off, I want to give a shout out to Tank for winning the fight. And for those of y'all who know, you know that that's one of my favorite fighters to watch personally, right? And, you know, I think he has underrated ring IQ. A lot of people talk about his power. He does more than just the power. It's the way how he set up the power. For you to have the lowest output of any boxer in your class and to always end up with a knockout, that's skill. Because you're not throwing as much to get the knockout, okay? So I think his way of, you know, just allowing his fighters to get confident, right? So they can make mistakes. That's exactly what he did in that round 2. He allowed Garcia to get confident so he can get him to make a mistake, knowing his weaknesses and was able to capitalize off of that, right? By knocking him down. And I get that Tank, he's very good fighting off his back foot. He fought Leo Santa Cruz, not Leo Santa Cruz, right? He did fight Leo Santa Cruz, but I'm not trying to reference that fight. Against Issa Cruz, right? He fought off his back foot entirely in that whole entire fight and won, right? And I think we have to give credit to him in that perspective, in those regards. And it seemed like Garcia, after he got caught in that second round, he was very cheap and economized his output throughout the duration of the fight because of that. He felt that power. He didn't want to, make a mistake. So he was very cheap, economizing his output throughout the fight. And once he did try to up the tempo a little bit in that 7th round, lights out, right? And I get all that. Now, to answer this question about the rehydration clause, I'm going to say, and I'm going to be fair here, right? I said before, it's going to be hard to know if that had anything to do with anything because these fighters, they go through a lot of sparring, injuries, things of that nature, rehydration clauses, and they warriors, so they're not going to come to the ring and look sluggish, right? They're not going to try to show it. They're going to talk all the smack in the world, sell the fight, and try to do what a warrior would do, right? If King David versus Goliath, David could have been sick. David could have been weight trained when he fought Goliath. Goliath didn't know. He took 3 stones, pop, pop, pop. You're out, right? A warrior. So we are not going to know if that had any effect. However, what I am going to say is I do have an agenda, and it's not against Tank. Like I said, Tank is one of my favorite fighters. He is the most box office boxer, in my opinion, today, even over Canelo. No, but my agenda is with the rehydration clause. That should be eliminated in boxing, period. Okay? And the reason why I say so is because it drains your body. You can't take as much fluids. It's dangerous. It's a dangerous thing. And I'm saying to myself, okay, let's talk about Canelo Alvarez, right? Who is the face of boxing. You see, Zay, this is what we fail to not realize. When you are the A side in boxing, you could literally map your way to a fine legacy because you have something that's called an A side abuse, which is what the rehydration clause is. It's A side abuse. Is I'm the A side. I can abuse you and manipulate you prior to the fight. This fight was over in negotiations. The fight was won. Tank won this fight at the negotiating table before this fight even happened. And I knew that. Okay? So I wasn't expecting to see any upset. The fight was already won before the actual fight in the ring based on these stipulations. And the other factors that I got from an inside source, I'm connected to a couple people in boxing. I'm going to display that information later on in my tape, right? When you talk about rehydration clause, I'm going to use an example. Canelo Alvarez, who's famous for using it. He used it 3 times in his career so far. Against trying to think. Kovalev was one. Danny Jacobs was another. And I'm missing somebody else. He used it again. I forgot the third fighter, but he used it 3 times. Right? And it's funny to me because when Canelo was a welterweight, he was fighting smaller guys that moved up in weight to fight him, and he destroyed them. Remember what happened to Amir Khan? Khan nearly died in the ring. Okay? So basically what I'm saying is easy when you're fighting Amir Khan or Laura, guys that are smaller than you moving up in weight, and you know they can't get a rehydration clause because they're not the A side, but it's okay for you. The A side now, Canelo, the face of boxing at one point, right? Probably still is, to use it when you moving up in weight. You see where I'm going here? And it's not about, the rehydration clause. It should be that, if you at 140, stay there. Boxing should just eliminate it, right? If Tank is going to be at a disadvantage because, Ryan Garcia is a taller fighter, the longer fighter, had better physical attributes that could be to his advantage, then keep him at 140. Okay? Right. Keep him at 140 and prevent that fight from happening. Because Ryan Garcia could have died last night. Okay? And nobody would have said anything. It just been, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Maybe the rehydration clause. It'd have been too late. Right? And that's my problem with the rehydration clause. It needs to go. It needs to be abolished. It's not fair. It's not right at all. Okay? And just like how Mayweather cherry picked his career being the A side, as an A side fighter, you can cherry pick, you can manipulate, you can rate train, you can do a whole lot of things. And that's real. That's what comes to today's boxing when you're the A side. But anyway, I have some information, right? It's all right, cool. So I'm not sure if y'all remember at the press conference. I don't even think it was a press conference. It actually was, where Tank said that he had a spy in Ryan Garcia's camp. This is Tank coming out his own mouth saying, I have a spy in your camp at the press conference. I'm not making this up. Look it up. Right? So before I proceed, just think about where we are right now. Rehydration clause, spy. You need all that? Really? In the biggest fight, the best fight of your resume. And listen, Tank is my guy, but I'm calling you out. I call my family out. What? I'm not supposed to call you out because you're a superstar. I call my family out too, right? If I'm seeing something, if I'm smelling something that's funky, okay, I'm gonna call you out. So the moment you step up in competition, spies, rehydration clauses, right? Okay, cool. Then I saw an interview, and it's on Fight Hub. I want to play this clip right now. I got it in my phone. I want to play it right now, but I'm afraid because boxing, they censor a lot of videos in boxing that you use, and I'm not trying to get this video taken down for a short 1 minute video. But I said it to y'all privately, off the grid. And Tank was getting his gloves wrapped, and he was sparring, basically. They're doing an interview after his sparring session or whatever. And he said that he got word that Ryan Garcia got hurt to the reps in sparring. And the guy that was interviewing him asked him, when did he get hurt in sparring? What fight? He was like, nah, it wasn't a fight. Just know I know. Right? So basically, translation, there's a rat in Ryan Garcia's camp that literally relied information to Tank Davis that Ryan Garcia got hurt to the body in camp and is sustaining a rib injury. And just like my Goliath take, when you hurt, you're a warrior. You go in there. Tank knew. That's why he went to the body. That's why when he got hit with that body shot, he was on one knee like he Colin Kaepernick and couldn't get up. Okay? So I'm not going to know all this information and shut my mouth. I don't do that. You give me credible information, I'm speaking it. Everybody got a right to know. Everybody have the right access or should have access to information. Okay, I just gave it to y'all. So not only did he use the rehydration clause, his camp, right? Maybe it's not Tank who's strategically doing this. It could be the camp, right? Not only did his camp use the rehydration clause, but his camp had spies in Ryan Garcia's gym. And it's funny because Ryan Garcia never even complained. He said, you know what? There was a lot of factors, but I'm not going to complain. I'm going to take the L like a man. Even with all that, even with everything against him, in this fight, prior to this fight even happening, prior to the ring walks, he still took it on the chin. He still had the decency to exchange phone numbers with Tank and take it like a man. And we going to sit here and not acknowledge that? All right, I get it. Now everybody have access to information. But now we do. What we going to do with it?
I'll leave it at that. I want to say something real quick. In regards to like the rat in his camp, that's on De La Hoya, Hopkins, the promoters, the people that's around him, especially the same guy, the trainer, De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, were not at the press conference post-fight. Nowhere to be found. They were not on stage. Nowhere to be completely found. Everybody in Gervonta Davis camp was there. Nobody on his in Garcia's camp is there, which gave me the speculation that Ryan Garcia may be looking to move over promotions. Now, that's a hot take. That's a rumor. There's no guaranteed information out there, but there's something in that. Because why isn't the promotion team there? Why aren't they backing their prize fighter? Doesn't make sense to me. Don't see why. But I say all of that to say Davis knocked out Barrios with the same liver punch in their fight. So that punch has become a staple instead of doing the usual. Because before, the staple for Davis used to be the uppercut. He did it to Santa Cruz. He did it to Pedroza before. The uppercut used to be the Gervonta Davis staple punch. Now we're seeing the liver punch, more effective, more concise, and still gives his ability to throw a right hook if needed. So,
quickly, Jay, go ahead. You talked about that Barrios fight, right? Where he caught him with the body shot. Where was that fight? What was the catch weight at that fight?
It was higher. I think because Davis had to go up. Davis had to go up and wait to fight him.
140, right? So he went up to fight Barrios, the bigger fighter, at a catch weight of 140, but he couldn't do that here in this Ryan Garcia fight, though.
Well, question. I'm not privy to exactly why that fight happened, but I thought he went up to fight Mario Barrios to then fight to fight Ryan Garcia, because it was supposed to be a fight that happened simultaneously. But remember, Ryan Garcia took time off of boxing for mental health. He took time off And then Davis went back down and weight because he didn't know when Ryan Garcia was coming back. But then a couple months later, Ryan Garcia came back and fought, which was confusing. I'm like, so wait, hold on. You could tell me that you was out surprisingly, you was out the time that Davis went up in weight to fight against that division, and then you went out. So then Davis was like, all right, I'm gonna go back down. And then Ryan Garcia just simultaneously comes back once Davis is back down in 135. That was a little sketchy to me because it was a time when Garcia and Davis were aligned to fight when he moved up to fight Barrios, and then Garcia disappeared.
Yeah, and remember his last 2 fights was at 140. Be prior to this one, but go ahead, cuz.
Real quick, cousin. This one little nugget, real quick. That rat inside of his camp, with Garcia getting hurt to the ribs, you know, he was going for the body a lot. He was targeting the body a lot. That actually makes a lot. And I mean, you know, clearly he's taller, so the body is available, but he was definitely targeting the body a lot, though. So I just want to throw that nugget in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear. And we have to realize that a lot of people, you know, boxing is a very funny sport. It's hard to know what's real and what's not real in boxing. At least in the NBA, it's clear. Black and white. NFL, black and white. But, you know, boxing is like, it's hard to know all the politics. First of all, to be fair here, I know I'm going off the grid here, but I believe 80% of boxers is cheating out here. If you had to tell me, Leel, how much percent, if you had to give a percentage of how much boxers is cheating out here, I'm saying 80%. That's literally the whole of boxing, right? So it's hard to know what's real and what's not real.
It's a dirty sport. It is.
It's a dirty sport. But it is a dangerous sport. So we have to realize in sparring sessions, guys are going to get clipped. Guys are going to get hurt, right? In sparring. And most boxers probably have injuries going into the ring. It's a real thing, right? But the fact of the matter is, Ryan Garcia, let's not forget that he was with Canelo and he was in Canelo's camp. And for whatever reason, I still don't know what to this day why they fell off. Right? Eddie Reynoso, who was his trainer at the time, who's also Canelo's trainer, they had a falling out party. And that's how he ended up with Oscar and B-Hop and all that. And I'm not sure what happened, but maybe he's learning his lesson that he should have remained sided with Canelo and that team because maybe they actually cared about him. I understand Reynoso, I'm guessing he showed Canelo a lot of attention, and I understand that, you know, Canelo at the time probably still is box office, you know, number one in boxing as far as attraction. So, of course, he's going to get the love. He's going to get the attention. But you go here and you go into this environment where you got rats in your camp who's relying information to Tank Davis, who clearly his team felt that, you know, they needed to do something to manipulate you to make this fight even. You think they wasn't going to use it? You know what I'm saying? And you had B-Hop and Oscar not showing up while you doing your post-fight conference. You got to get a hold of your circle. And you know what? We can sit here and blame Ryan Garcia as much as we could do Tank's team. We should. You signed the contract. I agree with Zay with that. Yeah. You signed the contract. You did. You signed. You knew every stipulation. You agreed to it. You took one for boxing. And I guess what I'm doing here is returning the favor for Ryan Garcia. He took one for boxing. If he didn't make this fight happen, we will not have no fight to watch last night with our families and friends or nothing to talk about on the show if he didn't do it. So I guess I'm returning that favor. Mm-hmm. I want to see a rematch. I want to see a rematch with everything on the right playing fields. Mm-hmm. All right. And I want to see this rematch at 140. I want to see everything on the right playing field.
I think Ryan Garcia has some time to negotiate that to be like, I want 140. But real quick, I wanted to ask you, this is an unrelated topic in regards to Tank Davis outside of Ryan Garcia. But at what point is he going to stop listening to Mayweather? The man was ignoring his trainers, ignoring everybody, and listening to everything Floyd had to say during the fight. Floyd wasn't in all those camps. Floyd wasn't with everybody training. He was doing everything he could to listen to Floyd and ignoring his trainers. The trainer's like saying something, he looking for Floyd. Floyd saying something, he attentive to Floyd. Everything Floyd say, he listened sharp. But when his trainers are talking, he's looking everywhere else. He's looking into the crowd. He pandering off. But when Floyd talk, he looking straight at Floyd. I'm getting tired of watching Floyd manipulate this young man during a fight because Floyd could have been a downfall for this kid because that second round was looking bleak before that punch. If Tank didn't knock him down, Garcia would have won that round clear because he pushed pace. He was pushing and aggressive. pushing off Tank during the when they was trying to clinch. It was a lot of things that Garcia was doing that looked a little like, oh wait, hold on, he's causing a little rift, causing a little trouble. But Mayweather was like distracting Davis throughout the fight. I don't like that. I feel like Mayweather needs to be eliminated from that corner immediately because he's distracting Gervonta Davis throughout the fight, telling him the ring cards. Yeah, you're up 10-9, you're down 10-9. It's like, bro, like let him fight. Like you're not being there to advise him on how to fight. You're just telling him the damn score. Yo, you're down. Turn it up. Like you don't need that. You don't need a hype man right now. We got trainers for that. Get out the corner. Go do something.
I mean, look, man. A rematch, nephew, he might be past that. I want another one too, though. I mean, look, fam, look. At the end of the day, I think for me, I want to see. I don't want to feel robbed. First of all, I paid for this fight. Long time that has happened. Respectfully, okay. I paid for the fight. I want to see it. It's a big fight. It was a mega fight, but
it was a mega fight.
In my mind, I knew everything was altered. I was just hoping that Garcia will make it interesting enough where it will be exciting. I thought the fight disappointed a little bit. I know everybody have their own, expectations and what they thought of the fight. Some people thought it was good, great. I thought it was disappointing because I saw Ryan Garcia do better. And I understand Tank is a different animal, but I just felt that it was too much of obstacles that he had to overcome to even make this fight competitive, which it wasn't, in my opinion, right? And I just want to see this fight on an even playing field, without the politics, without the rats, okay, without the mice.
Rats.
You know what I'm saying? I want to see everything fair. I want to see it again. To be honest with you, I do. It should happen eventually. Maybe not now, maybe not immediate, but in the future.
Yeah, I can see that.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.